We're starting off our trip to the Golden State with the Gates of Hell in Hacienda Heights. What is known as the Gates of Hell is this big barbed wire fence surrounding a piece of property that is rumored to have been a sanatorium back in the 40s. The story goes that this hospital had been shut down due to malpractice. And there are other stories that the building beyond this fence was the home of Satan worshippers who practiced all kinds of dark rituals on the property. As to how this rumor got started, well, beyond this ominous barbed wire fence is the back entrance to a building. Those few who have managed to sneak a glimpse of it have apparently seen all sorts of pentagrams and cultish symbols drawn all over it, and peeking inside the windows, you can supposedly see red stains covering the inside. Now, these could just be nothing more than made-up stories, but many people claim to have this uneasy feeling that washes over them when they pass by this gate. There has to be some reason for that barbed wire keeping people out, or maybe it's there to keep something in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. By the way, we have awesome content coming your way on the daily. Alright, the notorious Bohemian Grove. Bohemian Grove is a private campground located in Monte Rio, California. It's known for hosting an annual invite-only retreat for members of the Bohemian Club, a private men's club that only allows highfalutin men from fields in politics, business, and the arts. Now, the area isn't always closed off to the public, just when this annual gathering takes place. And what goes on in these gatherings at Bohemian Grove is incredibly secretive. And there are very strict rules in place for members about maintaining this secrecy. The most famous event at Bohemian Grove is said to be the cremation of care ceremony, which is a symbolic ritual performed in front of a large owl-shaped statue. Nobody, other than the members, of course, know what this ritual entails. But you have a bunch of powerful people meeting in the middle of the woods in secret performing ceremonies. No surprise why most people on the outside find this incredibly suspect. I don't know. Let your mind go wild. Do they sacrifice a poor person every year and then drink their blood while dancing in the nude around the big owl statue? That's what I picture. I picture Wicker Man type stuff going on. Like, what needs to be so secret about a camping trip? I've never been roasting marshmallows and catching fish in the woods with my buddies and turned to them and been like, guys, this stays in the woods here. None of this gets out. Alright, the hidden city under Mount Shasta. Now, unlike everything else you'll see on this list, this place is only rumored to exist, but the story behind it is pretty fascinating. According to the legend, there's said to be this hidden underground city or a network of tunnels beneath the majestic Mount Shasta in Northern California. There are a few different versions of this legend, but the gist is that there's this hidden city inhabited by an advanced and enlightened civilization. Some say they're remnants of an ancient civilization, extraterrestrial beings, or even spiritually advanced beings known as Lemurians. Lemuria is a mythical lost continent in the Pacific, kinda in the same vein as Atlantis, and according to the legend, Lemurians found refuge in the tunnels beneath the mountain after their continent sank into the ocean. There have also been a good number of UFO sightings around Mount Shasta, and people who have claimed to actually encounter the underground city, like the prospector J.C. Brown, who claimed to discover the city back in 1904. He said he'd found a cave that sloped down 11 miles while prospecting for gold, and inside the cave he found an entire city filled with gold and artifacts like shields and weapons, even the remains of large mummified humanoids, some of which were 10 feet tall. Brown didn't come out with his story until years later, telling a man named John C. Root about his tale. John gathered a search team, but on the day the group was supposed to meet, J.C. Brown apparently didn't show up. Not only that though, he was never seen or heard from again. So, I don't know, did he actually show up? And they went down there, they found the stuff, and then they were like, we want the gold to ourselves, and like, took him out, maybe? Who knows? Next on the list is Ano Nuevo Island. This place hasn't always been an island. It used to be connected to the mainland through a narrow strip of land that acted as a bridge, but water levels rose, eventually cutting it off. All that sits on this piece of land now are a handful of abandoned buildings and the residence, which used to be the home of a lighthouse keeper. The lighthouse is gone now, but the keeper is said to still linger in the afterlife anyway. The island is completely abandoned and off limits, now a protected wildlife preserve, home to seals and sea lions, but some say that on certain nights they've seen the windows of the old lighthouse keeper's home light up as if someone or something still looms over the island, keeping watch. Next up, we have Diego Garcia. This place sits in the central Indian Ocean and part of the British Indian Ocean Territory. It's home to a joint US-British military base that's been in operation since the 70s. The military facilities on Diego Garcia have been used for various purposes like intelligence gathering and air and naval operations. The specific operations that go on here are mostly classified, with only very limited info ever being disclosed to us, the public. So just like with any place like this, there's a lot of speculation as to what goes on here. The US military base on the island has also been a key hub for the projection of American power in the area. It played a big role during the Gulf War, the Iraq War, and the war in Afghanistan. All right, next up, we have a really creepy spot. Bohemian Grove. This place is this vast, almost 3,000 acre campground that's strictly invite only. Super exclusive. It's an elite club and only wealthy men are allowed. Every year, some of the most powerful and influential guys in Hollywood gather here. And what do? Apparently there are weird rituals and ceremonies. Famously, there's this huge owl statue that kind of oversees everything. Rumor has it that hooded figures, world leaders, big shot businessmen, and even famous artists gather around this owl for some kind of secretive ritual. If you're thinking of attempting to venture out and get a peek at the place, it's heavily guarded, surrounded by military personnel. No prying eyes or cameras are allowed anywhere near under any circumstances. So, are there political discussions going on here? Shady deals, creepy ritualistic sacrifices? Not sure if there are any True Detective fans in the audience, but it kind of gives me those sorts of vibes, which are not good vibes. Surprisingly, I haven't talked much about aliens on this list so far, so let's talk about Dolce Base. This is an underground facility that's rumored to be a hotbed of extraterrestrial activity, a secret lair where aliens and members of the United States government team up for all sorts of wild and weird experiments. The juicy gossip is that the humans and aliens actually work together here, collaborating on super advanced technology and playing around with genetics. Some even go as far as saying that aliens themselves are the bosses running the show here. As for the experiments, we're talking mind control shenanigans and even the creation of human-animal hybrids. And we're finishing things off with Jiangsu National Security Education Museum in China. This is not your average museum where you just casually stroll through exhibits. No. This one has a focus on national security. What makes this place extra bizarre is that only Chinese citizens are allowed in. If you're a foreigner, you're not getting in. So because I'm not from China, I don't know what's exactly in there, and it's tough to find any definitive insider info on it. But essentially, this wing of the museum is dedicated to spy stuff, primarily spreading awareness to Chinese citizens about supposed outsider espionage from other countries. Now, in all seriousness, I'm not 100% sure if this place is still closed off to tourists from outside the country, but when it first opened in 2009, it definitely was. And we're starting things off with the White House Situation Room. The Situation Room is the nerve center for the United States national security and crisis management. It may be an utter shock to you, but this place is off limits to the public, and even access by government officials is tightly controlled. Its main purpose is to provide the president with up-to-the-minute info during emergencies and crises, from military actions to natural disasters. The room is equipped with advanced communication technology, classified information systems, and video conferencing capabilities so that the president has all the necessary tools to make critical decisions. I'm picturing that scene in every big budget action movie where there's a bunch of guys in suits sitting around a big table. There's a big floating head talking about this is going on here and all these screens popping up. Probably doesn't look anything like that, but one can hope. Of course, anything top secret where the government is concerned has its fair share of conspiracies attached to it. One is that the Situation Room has secret archives containing information about extraterrestrial encounters or advanced technology. Another is that the Situation Room has been used for covert operations and shadowy government activities, which isn't really a conspiracy. That's just obviously exactly true. Number 9, the Coca-Cola vault. Deep in the bowels of the World of Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta, there is a vault that houses one of the most top secret artifacts in the United States of America. Legend has it that this vault safeguards the secret recipe for Coca-Cola, the closely guarded elixir that has delighted the taste buds of not just Americans, but soda freaks from all over the world for over a century. The level of protection here is almost on par with Fort Knox, but of course, where there's a vault, there are bound to be whispers and rumors. Some suggest that the recipe is actually stored on an ancient scroll guarded by a mythical soda deity. Others wonder if the vault conceals a secret passage to a parallel soda universe. Unfortunately, unless you spend your days striving for employment at this establishment in order to tend to the vault yourself, you and I will never truly know what wonders are stored inside that place. There are wonders that are very much available to you right here on this channel, so hit that subscribe button. Now let's turn our attention to the legendary Fort Knox. This fortress was established in 1936 in Kentucky. It's a highly secure facility that houses a significant portion of the US government's gold reserves. It's surrounded by layers of defense. Its security measures include armed guards, electronic surveillance, and impenetrable vaults. The depository's primary purpose is to safeguard the nation's wealth, but what else could they be holding in there? One claim suggests that the gold within Fort Knox has actually been replaced with replicas in order to kind of avert everyone's attention from the real location of the goods. Another theory is that Fort Knox holds more than just gold. Classified documents, advanced technology, or even extraterrestrial artifacts safely hidden inside these impenetrable vaults. Number 7. Area 51. Hard to avoid talking about Area 51 in a list like this. Situated within the larger Edwards Air Force Base, Area 51 has been a hub for aircraft testing and pilot training since 1955. But as we all know, gaining entry into this place is basically impossible unless you work there. So what's happening inside those heavily guarded fences? Well, officially, it's about testing cutting-edge aircraft and training top-notch pilots. There may also be top-secret military planes and likely highly advanced technology housed in there as well. But the extraterrestrial angle is what fascinates the vast majority of people. Rumors have been swirling for ages that Area 51 is ground zero for UFO activity. According to many UFO and alien enthusiasts, this is where the government stashes crashed flying saucers and reverse engineers alien tech. Even though the government finally admitted Area 51 existed in the late 90s, it didn't exactly clear up all the mystery. Declassified documents spilled some of the beans about its aerospace research role, but the place still very much has this aura of intrigue around it. In at number 6, we have Club 33 in Disneyland. This Disneyland secret society adds a layer of mystery to the happiest place on Earth. Located in several Disney parks across the globe, Club 33 is a hidden oasis of luxury and exclusivity. The story goes that Club 33 was originally conceived as a private escape for Walt Disney to entertain special guests. Since its opening in 1967, it's become the stuff of theme park legend. Getting into Club 33 is no small feat. The entrance is unassuming, marked only by a simple address plaque and a discreet doorbell. Behind this unassuming facade lies a world of wonder, complete with a lavish dining area, exclusive events, and a balcony that offers a bird's eye view of the park. There are lots of urban legends about Club 33, that there are secret passages connecting the club to other parts of the park so that special guests can move through Disneyland out of the public eye. There's a pretty great story on Reddit about Club 33, and a thread asking folks who have worked there what the club is like. One Redditor chimed in saying he worked at Disneyland, and a coworker of his had gone to the bathroom in Club 33 and was very impressed with the fancy toilet paper, so he decided to take some of it home with him. And then from behind him, he heard a voice say, "Make sure you leave some for me." Then he turned around and it was none other than Nicolas Cage, which you probably guessed based on my incredible impression.
Grand Shrine of Isle, Japan is next on our list. Japan is a land of shrine culture and is home to approximately 1,000 shrines. But did you know that the Isle Grand Shrine is one of the most important as well as the most expensive of all the shrines in Japan? The Grand Shrine Isle in Japan is a very important place for the Shinto religion because it was built to honor Amaterasu, a goddess of the sun and the universe. Now interestingly, this temple is rebuilt every 20 years according to the Shinto idea of death and birth. earth. Every time they reconstruct the shrine, they keep on using a wood joining technique and never utilize nails, which is pretty cool. Now, to keep the place holy, only priests and members of the imperial family of Japan can go there. Everyone else can gaze at the temple from the outside through wooden fences. Now on to Surtsey, Iceland. Surtsey, one of the youngest islands in the world, appeared due to a volcanic eruption that lasted from 1963 to 1907. These days though, it's only used for scientific purposes. Visitors, except for research groups, are forbidden to visit this island because scientists want to understand how ecosystems form without any human influence. Now, free from human interference, Surtsey has been producing unique long-term information on the colonization process of new land by plant and animal life. Since they began studying the island in 1964, scientists have observed the arrival of seeds carried by ocean currents, the appearance of molds, bacteria, and fungi, followed in 1965 by the first vascular plant, of which there were 10 species by the end of the first decade. By 2004, they numbered 60 together with 75 bryophytes, 71 lichens, and 24 fungi. 89 species of birds have been recorded on Surtsey, 57 of which breed elsewhere in Iceland. Now, I understand why they wouldn't want everyday humans to come to this place, as they could ruin it, and they've never had an opportunity to study an island like before. Up next is Metro 2, Moscow. Metro 2 is the name given to a secret underground rail network built by Stalin in the 1930s to allow the Soviet police to move around the city rapidly without detection. It originally linked Stalin's dacha, suburban residence, the Ministry of Defense, command bunkers, and other military facilities. Larger and more extensive than the official metro system, it is unknown whether construction stopped after Stalin's death or if his successors continue to end it. Now, the system was also meant to serve as a protection against a nuclear attack, with a supposed giant bunker built that was able to house up to 300,000 people, along with an alternate command post for the Soviet High Command. There are even rumors that the network extends for miles outside Moscow, allowing Soviet leaders to flee in case the capital was hit by a nuclear attack. There are also rumors that the tunnels were used by the military to transport supplies, materials, and personnel between bunkers without exposure. Now, a tunnel leading into the Metro 2 system was discovered after the 1960s era Rosia Hotel near the Kremlin was demolished. The tunnel was referred to as D6, which is apparently KGB code for Metro 2. It is supposedly still operated by the Russian Ministry of Defense, but the Metro administration, however, denies existence. And lastly, we have Runet Island, Marshall Island. Between 1946 and 1958, the United States carried out 67 nuclear tests in the Pacific Ocean. The explosions were described as for the good of mankind and to all wars. 2/3 of the tests happened at Eniwetok Pole, and they left behind a place seriously contaminated with radioactive material. Efforts to clean up the mess ran from 1977 to 1980, and there was military debris, shattered concrete, and soil tainted with elements such as plutonium, cesium, and strontium. All this toxic waste, 85,000 cubic meters of it, was scooped up and taken to a tiny patch of land called Runet Island, a place that was so badly contaminated that scientists said it could never be cleaned up. On Runet, there was already a huge void left behind by one of the blasts called the Cactus Crater. Now, it was lined with concrete and the crud was dumped in. Then they sealed off the dump with a big concrete dome. But to save costs, the bottom of the crater was not lined, so radioactive contamination has leaked into seawater, and there are serious concerns about how permanent the contaminant structure really is. Needless to say, the only people who visit Runet Island are government scientists protected by hazmat kits. Now, how they could get away with this? Absolutely horrible. Well, that's all for our list of the top 10 banned places more restricted than Fort Knox.
Starting us off today, we have the Baghdad Fort, located in Rajasthan, India. The fort was built in the village of Kuldara in the 17th century by Emperor Madho Singh for his son Man Singh, and is now known today as one of the most haunted places in India. The legend says that when the fort was built, the emperor made a promise to a man named Baba Blue Nath that the shadow of the structure would not touch the body of the man in his home where he practiced his meditations. Unfortunately, the emperor lied, and in a bout of greed, built the fort much taller and wider than the two had originally agreed upon, which proved to be a big mistake, as it is said that the hermit Baba Balu then cursed the village, which later led to its very abrupt destruction. In 1825, without warning, the village of Kuldara, as well as 83 of its neighboring villages, suddenly vanished in the dark. Now, new studies suggest that the disappearance of the villages may have been due to a devastating earthquake, but I'm not so sure. I mean, Baba Baloo seemed pretty serious about the whole shadow thing. Today, the fort is open for exploration from sunrise to sunset, but it is strictly off limits after dark. While there are some who have given into temptation and broken this rule, we're still unsure of what goes on at Bhangarh Fort in the dead of night, as those who have gone in at this time have never actually come out.
Next up on our list, we have Area 6. Not quite as infamous as its 51st counterpart, Area 6 is much less well known but still full of mystery and forbidden knowledge. Area 6 is just one area on the Nevada test site that is reserved for those with the highest security clearance. While this place isn't full of rumors and speculations of mermaids and aliens, it is the site that held 4 nuclear tests for a total of 6 detonations. This area includes an asphalt runway and some nearby buildings, including a hangar. One of the buildings was originally constructed as a device assembly facility, but it now serves as the CEF, which is the Critical Experiments Facility. One of the most notable moments from Area 6 took place in 1982 during a very crucial time, as a live nuclear bomb, really want to put emphasis on the fact that it was a live nuclear bomb, was being lowered into the ground, presumably for one of the experiments. The base actually came under attack by armed combatants. This, of course, was surprising and dangerous and frightening, especially considering the live nuclear weapon that was around at the time. As it turns out, this attack was actually just a security team that was conducting a drill. Looks as if someone messed up on the scheduling that day, and it almost turned out completely catastrophic. Luckily, whoever was at the control point, which serves as the communication hub of Area 6, where they control the weapons triggers and monitor the test nuclear explosions. Luckily, those in the control area that day were able to recognize this mistake before anything got too out of hand.
Moving on to Poveglia Island in Italy. The small island located between Venice and Lido was once used as a quarantine center for those affected with the plague. The island is said to have hosted over 160,000 infected individuals who, upon their demise, were either buried in massively overcrowded graves or simply burned due to said overcrowding. There are even reports out there that state a whopping 50% of the island's soil is actually consistent of human remains. And believe it or not, it doesn't actually end there, as in the late 1800s, the island was used as a mental hospital where it is believed one of the doctors routinely tortured his patients. And if that's not enough, because of all this, it is now believed that the island is extremely haunted, with some going so far as to say it's the most haunted place in the world. Reports of ghost sightings and hearing the screams of the deceased in the dead of night are by no means in short supply. In 1968, the Italian government decided it wanted absolutely nothing to do with the island, the smell of death, and all of the spooky baggage, and therefore it deemed it both banned and prohibited. You are more than welcome to take boat rides around the island, but to step foot on the sands of what is essentially just a massive graveyard is a big no-no. What's the creepiest place you've ever been? Let us know in the comments.
Coming up next, we have the Morgan Stanley's data center located in New York. It is recognized as one of the most secure data centers globally. This facility plays a pivotal role in the world of finance, handling an immense volume of sensitive financial data and transactions daily. The security and integrity of this data are paramount given its potential impact on global markets and the privacy of countless individuals. Consequently, the data center employs state-of-the-art security measures, both digital and physical, to safeguard against any form of breach or intrusion. The exact location and intricate details of this facility are a closely guarded secret, known only to a select few within the organization. This secrecy is maintained not just to protect the center from physical threats, but also to safeguard against cyber threats, which are increasingly sophisticated in the financial sector. The data center's operations are a testament to Morgan Stanley's commitment to security and confidentiality, reflecting the immense responsibility they bear in the global financial landscape. This sounds really a lot like an ad for Morgan Stanley. You're welcome, guys. I'm doing it for free. It's like a fortress for all things financial, all right? You're welcome, Morgan.
On a bit of a lighter note, the Coca-Cola vault is up next on the list. The vault, located in a museum in Atlanta, is, as you've probably guessed, home to the notorious Coca-Cola recipe, or the secret formula, some might say. The recipe, which dates all the way back to 1986, was originally kept at SunTrust Bank under lock and key from 1925 up until the company's 25th anniversary in 1996, when the super secret recipe was relocated to the high-tech vault in Atlanta. But any visitors hoping to catch a peek were sadly disappointed, as even during the transportation period, the recipe was kept under lock and key, securely sealed inside a metal box. Of course, the 10-foot vault in which the secret formula is kept is strictly off limits to the public. While the recipe is allegedly written down and highly protected, it is said that there are 2 people in the world who have actually laid eyes on it and have the formula memorized. These 2 individuals are forbidden from ever flying on the same plane, so that in the unlikely event of a crash landing ending in the tragic death of one, the other would still be able to carry on the legacy. Not sure about you guys, but for such a big safe, I kind of wonder what else they're hiding in there. Up next, we have a spring containing a 140-foot deep well located in the Texas Hill Country that goes by the name of Jacob's Well. The spring, which is classified as a perennial karstic spring, meaning that it has a continuous natural flow of water, is a beautiful landmark and a go-to hotspot for tourists and locals alike. So how did it earn itself a spot on this list? Well, the trouble actually lies beneath the surface of the almost mile-long well. The incredibly deep system of underground chambers has been referred to as one of the most dangerous dive locations in the world, and as such is off limits to the public, leaving the tunnels reserved solely for a very small group of specialized divers. Even with this being the case, there have been several fatalities due to divers becoming trapped in false exits, getting caught in passageways, and running out of oxygen on the 5-hour dive. It has since become a highly recommended no-go zone. The Red River of Spain is next up on the list, also referred to as the Chemical Lake of Rio Tinto, or Spain's Stained River. These nicknames are in reference to the murky copper-red color the river has taken on as a result of the natural decomposition of minerals, heavy metals, and sulfates, the large presence of which may be due to thousands of years of mining pollution in the area. Because of this, the waters in the upper and middle basins of the Rio Tinto are highly toxic and detrimental to supporting human and animal life. So naturally, there are no fish swimming around the area, nor are there birds stopping in for a drink, because if they did, they would literally die. Humans have also been banned from swimming in the river too, and for good reason. Next up on the list, we have Horseshoe Lake, a body of water that can be found located along the perimeters of Mammoth Mountain. Located along the perimeters of the Mammoth Mountain volcano in California. Its location alone has made it an extremely popular place for family gatherings, picnics, hiking, and even swimming, but it wasn't always this way. You see, back in 1989, a cluster of earthquakes caused the earth beneath the surface of the lake to crack open and release dangerous, lethal amounts of CO2 into the waters as well as the air, killing more than 100 acres of trees in the surrounding area. While the effects of the CO2 have since become obsolete, it's important to remember that Mammoth Mountain is still a very young volcano, which means it could still cause deadly amounts of carbon to seep through the lake at any time. What's the scariest place you've ever gone swimming? Let us know in the comments. The Boiling Lake is next on the list, located in Dominica. It is the second largest recorded hot spring in the world. The lake's extreme temperatures, which occur naturally as the water is warmed by the geothermal heat coming from the Earth's interior, range from 180 to 197 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 82 to 90 degrees Celsius, along the edge. That's almost literally boiling. And it's just along the edge. You see, scientists weren't actually able to measure the temperature in the center of the lake because of the extreme heat and steam coming from a nearby volcano. However, they could visually see that the center is actively boiling, so you can only imagine how hot it might be. While the public are understandably restricted and banned from so much as even coming close to the perimeter of this lake, there are other hot springs in the area that are available to enjoy. Just not this one. Never this one. And finally, coming in at our #1 spot, we have the stunning Turquoise Lake. Located in Siberia, Russia, with waters so clear and so blue, the lake quickly became a popular stop for tourists and influencers who flocked to the area with the hopes of snapping a pic that could rival even the best of those taken on a fancy, all-inclusive Caribbean vacation. Well, I guess things aren't always as they seem, because the beautiful color that has garnered so much fame is actually the result of waste runoff from a nearby power plant. Calcium salts and other metal oxides have caused the water to become toxic and highly alkaline. Even just dipping a toe could result in a severe allergic reaction. Because of this, the lake is strictly off limits and people have been banned from swimming within its waters.
Let's delve into the mystical allure of the Isse Grand Shrine in Japan, a pinnacle of spiritual significance in Shintoism. Revered as one of the holiest and most sacred sites, this shrine embodies a tradition steeped in antiquity and mysticism. Uniquely, the Isse Grand Shrine is part of an ancient and ongoing ritual where it is demolished and rebuilt every 20 years, a practice known as Shikinen Sengu. This ritual, deeply embedded in Shinto beliefs, symbolizes the concept of impermanence and renewal, essential to maintaining the purity and power of the shrine. The materials and techniques used for reconstruction are kept traditional, honoring centuries-old craftsmanship. Access to the shrine's innermost sanctum, where the sacred mirror, considered to be one of the 3 imperial regalia of Japan, is kept, is extraordinarily restricted. This privilege is reserved solely for the shrine's priestess or priest, who is usually a member of the Japanese imperial family, and no other person. Not even the emperor is allowed inside. This level of exclusivity and the profound cultural and religious significance of the shrine make it a fascinating, albeit very mysterious, destination. Next up, we have Room 39 in North Korea. Room 39 in North Korea represents a layer of mystery within an already secretive nation. Believed to be nestled in the heart of a ruling Workers' Party building in Pyongyang, Room 39 is enveloped in mysterious tales and a lot of speculation. This clandestine entity is rumored to be a linchpin in a network of illegal activities primarily focused on generating foreign currency for the regime. It is said to be involved in a wide array of covert operations ranging from counterfeiting currencies to international insurance fraud and even illicit substance trafficking. The reality of what transpires within its walls is known to only a select few, shrouded in the utmost secrecy. This veil of mystery only compounds the intrigue surrounding Room 39, making it a focal point of international curiosity and speculations about the lengths to which North Korea goes to sustain its economy and fund its leadership's agendas. Next up, we have the Jiangsu National Security Education Museum in China. This museum, located in the heart of Nanjing, represents a unique facet of espionage history, but with a catch. It is strictly off limits to foreigners. This policy is not just a formality, it is rigorously enforced, underscoring the sensitive nature of the exhibits within. Inside, the museum houses an extensive collection of Chinese espionage equipment and confidential documents, offering an unparalleled glimpse into the shadowy world of spies and secret agents. It's a veritable treasure trove of state secrets, spy gadgets, and covert operations accessible exclusively to Chinese citizens. From cipher machines used used during revolutionary times to modern-day surveillance equipment, the museum provides a comprehensive overview of China's intelligence history. It stands as a testament to the country's very complex relationship with espionage. It is shrouded in mystery and very tightly controlled, mirroring the secretive and exclusive nature of the intelligence world itself. Next up, we have the Woomera prohibited area, sprawling across the arid landscape of South Australia. This place stands as one of the world's largest military testing ranges. Covering an area larger than some countries, this vast, desolate expanse is full of secrecy and tightly guarded against public intrusion. Established in the Cold War era, it has been an essential site for testing a wide array of military hardware, ranging from cutting-edge missiles and advanced weaponry to unmanned aerial vehicles and drones. The testing conducted here is crucial for national defense and international collaborations involving partners like the United States. The airspace above Woomera is regularly cleared for testing, creating a temporary no-fly zone that underscores the seriousness of the activities undertaken. Despite its importance, very little is known about the specific projects and experiments conducted within its boundaries, as strict security measures and confidentiality agreements keep these details out of the public eye. This combination of vastness, secrecy, and advanced military technology makes the Woomera prohibited area a fascinating and intimidating locale, far more restricted than most classified sites globally. Nestled in the ancient city of Oxum, Ethiopia, stands a modest chapel believed to be the final resting place of one of history's greatest relics, the Ark of the Covenant. This sacred chest, as described in the Hebrew Bible, is said to contain these stone tablets of the 10 Commandments given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Shrouded in divine mystery, the Ark's presence in this chapel is guarded by a single monk appointed for life. This guardian, sworn by a vow of silence and seclusion, is the sole human allowed to gaze upon the Ark, making this one of the most restricted religious sites on the planet. This strict access and secretive nature of the chapel's contents have imbued it with a profound sense of reverence and intrigue. Pilgrims and tourists may visit the compound, but the chapel itself remains a tantalizing mystery, its secrets preserved within its unassuming walls. The blend of myth, religion, and historical significance surrounding the Ark continues to captivate the imagination of believers and skeptics alike, making the Chapel of the Ark of the Covenant a unique and mysterious site in the tapestry of human history. Moving on down, we have the Heard Island volcano. Heard Island, situated in the sub-Antarctic, is one of the most remote and inhospitable places on Earth. Dominated by the active volcano Big Ben, the island presents a landscape of dramatic natural beauty and daunting extremes. The harsh climate, characterized by persistent cold, fierce winds, and heavy snowfall, renders access to this isolated island almost impossible. Besides its challenging geography, Heard Island is designated as a protected nature reserve, emphasizing conservation and scientific study while strictly limiting human interference. This combination of natural barriers and legal protection ensures that Heard Island remains one of the least disturbed ecosystems on the planet, a pristine sanctuary for wildlife, and a natural laboratory for scientists studying climate change and volcanic activity. Next up, we have the Royal Bedroom in the United Kingdom. Located in the heart of Buckingham Palace, the Queen's bedroom, well, I suppose it's now the King's bedroom, epitomizes exclusivity and is undeniably one of the most restricted rooms in the entire United Kingdom. This room, steeped in royal history, is a sanctuary for the reigning monarch, filled with priceless artifacts and personal treasures. Its notoriety peaked in 1982 when an intruder, Michael Fagan, shockingly made it past palace security and into the room, an unprecedented breach that shook the foundations of royal security. This incident prompted a massive overhaul of palace security protocols, of course, transforming the bedroom into a veritable fortress within Buckingham Palace. Access to this room is now more tightly controlled than ever, reserved for a select few and guarded with the highest levels of security, ensuring that such a breach remains a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. Moving on, we have Area 122. Area 122, ensconced within the Antarctic Treaty's no-go zones, Mountains, lies secluded on an island in the Enderby Land, a remote part of Antarctica known for its harsh and unforgiving climate. This area is designated as a specially protected zone, aimed at preserving its unique and fragile ecosystem. It's a sanctuary for an array of polar wildlife, including species that are not found anywhere else on the planet. The strict restrictions in place mean that access is extremely limited, with tourists and even scientists requiring special permits to visit. These permits are seldom granted, ensuring that human impact on the area's pristine environment is kept to an absolute minimum. The isolation and protection of Area 122 make it one of the most intriguing and least disturbed natural areas on Earth, a true example of untouched wilderness. Next up, we have the Granite Mountain Records Vault. Owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Granite Mountain Records Vault is an awe-inspiring facility carved deep into a mountainside near Salt Lake City, Utah. This massive vault, constructed in the 1960s, is a fortress designated to withstand natural disasters and nuclear attacks. Its primary purpose is to house and protect a vast collection of genealogical and historical records, including millions of microfilm reels containing family history and vital records from all over the world. The security measures surrounding the vault are extraordinary, featuring state-of-the-art technology and rigorous protocols to ensure the preservation and protection of these invaluable records. The public's access to the vault itself is extremely limited, with the church maintaining strict control over who can enter the facility. This secrecy and the critical nature of the documents stored within add to the vault's mystique, making it a topic of fascination and intrigue among both genealogists and just the general public. Next up, we have Porton Down. A British research facility located in Wiltshire. Porton Down is a hub of scientific inquiry dedicated to the study of chemical and biological weapons. Established during the First World War, it has since been at the forefront of research in these fields. The activities and experiments conducted at Porton Down are of the highest classification, covered in secrecy and subject to strict government oversight. This veil of mystery has made the facility a magnet for conspiracy theories and controversies over the years. It has been associated with everything from unethical human testing to the development of advanced undisclosed weaponry. Despite its notoriety, Porton Down plays a crucial role in national defense, helping the UK to understand and defend against chemical and biological threats. However, the exact nature of much of its research remains a closely guarded secret, adding to its mysterious and somewhat ominous reputation.
We're going to start off with Pine Gap in Australia. This is a secretive facility that sits in the Australian outback, about 12 miles southwest of Alice Springs. It's run jointly by the United States and Australia and is officially known as the Joint Defense Facility Pine Gap, or JDFPG. It was established in 1966 with the purpose of collecting signals intelligence, but so much of what really goes on here is, unsurprisingly, classified. So of course, rumors are aplenty. The facility is equipped with advanced technology like satellite dishes and radomes, which are structures that cover antennas to protect them from the environment. Obviously, these are used to monitor things, but as for what they're paying attention to, classified. There are some people in the conspiratorial realm that say this place is involved in more than just signals intelligence, that maybe the place plays a role in global surveillance, missile tracking, or even extraterrestrial activities. The facility's role in supporting US military operations has also led to a lot of speculation. The Australian government does acknowledge the existence of Pine Gap, but is very tight-lipped about what actually goes on there. If you are enjoying our channel so far, then please don't be tight-lipped yourself. Comment down below there and don't forget to subscribe as well. I'm getting good at just throwing those in. I always connect them. I'm a very talented person. Alright, let's switch gears for a moment and discuss one of my favorite subjects, haunted hotel rooms. Legend has it that in the early years of the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel in Canada, a couple and their young daughter stayed in room 873. Now, there are many different versions of this story, usually ending with the daughter or the entire family dying. But after this unfortunate incident, the room continued being rented out for a while to guests, but guests would then start running out of the room screaming, claiming they'd get startled awake to the sound of screams in their room, but they'd only find bloody handprints on the mirrors, no one else there. But these prints would disappear by the time hotel staff would arrive to investigate. In an attempt to hush up the incident and avoid any more negative publicity, the hotel sealed off room 873. At least that's how the story goes. So even though the room is officially out of commission, guests staying nearby have reported eerie occurrences ever since. The faint sound of a child weeping, mysterious shadows, and unexplained noises are also reported pretty regularly. And if you ask hotel staff about room 873, they'll claim it never existed. I mean, there is no actual room there, it's just a wall. But there clearly used to be a room, 873. First of all, there are rooms ending in 73 on every floor. There's this gap in the middle of the hallway on the 8th floor where it looks like a room would have been. Plus, there's a light on the ceiling of the empty spot, just like there are lights by every other room. There's lots of signs that point to the fact that they just kind of covered it up. But staff, for whatever reason, they're just not allowed to talk about it. It's pretty interesting. Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel has gained quite the reputation as a haunted tourist attraction. So if you're ever lucky enough to visit this place in the Canadian Rockies, keep an eye out for those lingering spirits from room 873. Next on the list is pretty fascinating and actually makes a lot of sense. It's the Svalbard Global Seed Vault in Norway. So this place is sometimes referred to as the Doomsday Vault. It's not as ominous as it sounds, though. This place is built into the permafrost of a mountain on the island of Spitsbergen and was officially opened in 2008. So what's this place used for? Well, it's a seed vault. It acts as a global backup storage facility for seeds, housing and preserving a huge collection of plant species from all over the world. And the idea here is to safeguard the world's plants by storing duplicate samples of seeds in a secure, remote location. Norway seems like a pretty ideal spot for that. The permafrost surrounding the vault provides a natural form of refrigeration, perfect for preserving seeds. The vault is a fail-safe designed to withstand natural and man-made disasters, even nuclear war or climate-related catastrophes, making sure that we'll have seeds to repopulate the earth with crops if anything goes catastrophically wrong. Probably no surprise to anyone, but this place is heavily safeguarded and completely off limits to the general public. Next is North Brother Island. North Brother Island in the East River near New York City has a very interesting history. Probably the most famous story about this place is that it used to house quarantined people. In the late 1800s, Riverside Hospital was built on North Brother Island to isolate and treat individuals with contagious diseases like smallpox and typhoid and tuberculosis. One of the most famous residents was known as Typhoid Mary, an asymptomatic carrier of typhoid fever who was confined on the island for over 2 decades. But the hospital was eventually closed in the 40s, and North Brother Island was completely abandoned. The crumbling remains of the hospital buildings and other structures still stand on the island today, giving it a pretty eerie vibe. Now the place is mostly closed off to the public. Visits must be requested and are only considered under very specific conditions, but those who have set foot on the island have told stories about strange sounds and ghostly apparitions there. Unsurprising considering the isolation, the decay, and its very dark past. Next up, we have room 39 in North Korea. I guess we could throw the entirety of North Korea on here technically, but we'll just narrow it down to this for now. Room 39 is a secretive organization reportedly located in North Korea, also known as Bureau 39. It operates under the government's ruling Workers' Party of Korea. So Room 39's main focus is engaging in various illicit activities to generate funds for the North Korean regime. Specific activities carried out aren't publicly disclosed, obviously, but some things have been rumored to take place, like counterfeiting currency, the trafficking of illicit substances, arms sales. One of the most infamous allegations is that Room 39 has been engaged in the production and distribution of counterfeit US currency known as supernotes. These high-quality counterfeit bills are difficult to detect and are suspected to have been used to fund North Korea's activities abroad. Surtsey in Iceland. So Surtsey is a volcanic island off the southern coast of Iceland. Its history is pretty fascinating because it emerged from the depths of the Atlantic Ocean as a result of a volcanic eruption that began in 1963 and lasted all the way up until 67. The island is named Surtur, the fire giant from Norse mythology. When the island was first formed, the island is named after Surtur, the fire giant from Norse mythology. When the island was first formed, it was completely barren with no signs of life. Can't imagine why. You probably wouldn't expect any life to form in a place like this, but you'd be wrong. Over the years, scientists have been monitoring the place and have actually seen plant and even animal life starting to form on the island. It's kind of become a natural laboratory for scientists studying how life gradually forms on new land masses. Surtsey is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and access to the island is highly restricted. Only a select few scientists are allowed to visit, and special permits are required. This is to prevent heavy human interference and just let the place do its thing. In the LA suburb of Downey sits a fenced-off, boarded-up set of homes and buildings known as the Old LA County Poor Farm. The history of this place dates back to 1887, when the LA County Board of Supervisors decided to create a facility for the homeless. They bought 124 acres of farmland near Downey, functioned as a place for them to stay but also to work. It was a working farm with buildings to house residents, offices, and even common areas. Over the years, the farm expanded to around 400 acres by 1910 and produced a variety of crops and livestock. It was a self-sustaining operation, providing food for residents and selling all the excess produce for profit. Like, what an awesome idea. We need stuff like this today. Things eventually changed, of course, though. In 1915, a new superintendent took charge. The Great Depression also brought its challenges, with funding drying up and a tent city being constructed. During World War II, part of the place became an army base, and after the war, the facility evolved into a hospital, abandoning the farm aspect by the 50s. And then by the 80s, the aging hospital moved to a new facility across the street, leaving the old poor farm abandoned. It's now completely off limits to the public, surrounded by no trespassing signs and barbed wire fences. Creepy story though. In 2006, the military came to the area for a training exercise, and Marines stumbled upon a freezer containing tons of mummified body parts, likely from the hospital, but that's still really creepy. The Point Sur Lighthouse is surrounded by ghostly tales. It was constructed in 1889, helping to navigate vessels along the Big Sur coastline. One tale about this place is that the original lighthouse keeper continues to watch over the tower till this day. Future keepers have had the creepy experience of being all alone in the tower at night, only to hear labored footsteps ascending the stairs and the sounds of huffs and puffs coming from the stairs. But when they've called out to ask who's there or to go and look, the stairway is completely empty. There are also stories about a woman in a vintage dress wandering near the lighthouse, and some say she's the spirit of a woman who died in a shipwreck. Next on the list is the Lincoln Heights Jail. This was a pretty notorious jail. Big names like Al Capone used to be housed here. The jail has been around since 1931. It was originally constructed to hold about 625 prisoners, but by the 50s, it was packing in about 2,800 folks. You can only imagine what the conditions were like in that place. And in the 50s and 60s, when LA was cracking down on LGBT activity, the place became known for something else. Cops were going after queer individuals, making arrests, and the prison had its own separate wing just for these prisoners. In 1965, the city decided to shut the facility down. It sat empty for ages, with people tossing around ideas for renovations, a trade school, a rooftop garden. In 1979, the Bilingual Foundation for the Arts moved in, but by 2014, it was abandoned yet again. Fast forward to 2017, the city wanted ideas to revive the place. The Lincoln Property Company and 15 Group got the nod to turn it into a Lincoln Heights Makers District. Public market, amphitheater, all that kind of jazz, but the place ended up being really tough to renovate. It was full of hazardous material, decay, and getting the place up to current environmental standards was tough. So the project was ultimately abandoned, and the place still sits empty to this day. Next up, we have the Sunken City. This spot is completely off limits to the public, although you probably wouldn't think it with how many people fart around in the place. The sunken city is located in San Pedro and got its name in 1929 when a landslide caused a part of the coastline to plunge into the ocean. This left behind this series of concrete foundations, streets, and sidewalks that now sit below the cliffs. The area became popular for how eerie and surreal the landscape is, even though it's been technically closed off to the public since '87 because of safety concerns. People were climbing the unstable cliffs and it became a liability. They're not supposed to go wandering around there, and the city has to put up fences and signs to make sure everyone gets the message. Trespassing can result in fines or even arrests, but people continue to sneak in. When I say people, I mean like young people. Let's be real. It looks beautiful though. There's palm trees, really cool looking graffiti. I get why people would want to check it out, but apparently it can be pretty dangerous. Forget the fines, people often get mugged here or worse. Let's talk about Murphy Ranch, sitting in the hills near Los Angeles. So back in the 30s, a couple with some pretty unconventional ideas decided to build a self-sufficient compound there. And by unconventional ideas, I mean they were incredibly anti-Semitic. They thought the world was headed for some major chaos, and seeing as World War II was looming, kinda was, so they built this compound, which ended up becoming something of a base for American Third Reich sympathizers during the Second World War. The compound had living quarters, a power station, and even a water storage system. It was a haven for them, and other like-minded pricks, but the US government got wind of it and shut it down in 1941, the day after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. The remains of Murphy Ranch now sit completely abandoned and completely off limits. Old dilapidated buildings and graffiti covered walls are all that remain. Yes, graffiti, people still do sneak in. Next on the list we have Alcatraz. This is one of the most notorious former prisons in the entire world. The amount of stories about this place is damn near endless, and it's said that some of the former prisoners still linger within the building till this day. Back in the 1850s, it started as a military setup, housing soldiers, but then in 1934, it switched gears and became a high-security prison, holding big-name crooks like Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. Life on Alcatraz was no joke for inmates. They faced solitary confinement, hard labor, and punishment was incredibly tough. On top of that, the place was said to be this impossible area to escape, being out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by ice-cold water. Oddly enough, though, there were actually multiple escape attempts here, a whopping 14 to be exact. The most famous attempt was in 1962 when Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers disappeared into thin air. Some say they actually made it to shore, started new lives in secret, but others think they drowned in the frigid water. Others who tried weren't as lucky. Guards shot some or just caught them before they even got that far.
First up, we have the Vatican Secret Archives. The Vatican Secret Archives serves as a storage space for numerous documents relating to the Catholic Church. The Pope, as the sovereign of Vatican City, owns the material held in the archive until his death or resignation, with ownership passing on to his successor. Now, the archive contains state papers, correspondence, account books, and many other documents that the Church has accumulated over the centuries. Now, some of these documents date as far back as the 8th century. Now, there are said to be papal accounts of a letter from Michelangelo to Pope Julius II, a letter from Mary Queen of Scots written before her execution, and Martin Luther's excommunication document. Now, most of the archive is located underground, and it has 53 miles of shelves with 35,000 volumes in the selective catalog alone. Now, it's forbidden to enter it for anyone except for researchers with special permits to access. But even for them, there are multiple limitations to what documents they can view. Not to mention, only paper, pencil, and computer laptops are permitted. No ink, pens, or any digital camera photography are allowed inside. Only 5 requested articles can be taken out at a time, and only 60 academics per day are allowed inside. So even if you can visit, there's a lot of restrictive rules you would have to follow. Next up is the Bhangarh Fort, India. Okay, so this point is a little bit of a cheat because the Bhangarh Fort isn't completely banned to access because tourists can visit it in the daylight, but from sunset to sunrise, there is a strict ban on entering this place. Generally regarded as the most haunted place in India, this 16th century fort is full of legends about ghosts and curses. Some visitors pointed out that they get a weird sense of paranoia as if someone is following them around, and that's why many guests don't stay long in the area. Now, as per the legends, Bhangarh Fort has been cursed by a hermit named Guru Balu Nath. Now, the spot where the fort had been built once served as the meditation spot of the sage, and when the king pleaded with him that he wanted to build a fort there, the sage agreed on one condition, that the fort's shadow should not touch him. Now, the king agreed but did not follow through, and the curse of the hermit followed, which led to the entire village being destroyed. You might be wondering who happens to those who dare visit the Bhangarh Fort at night, but no one knows, because according to locals, whoever tries to break the rule mysteriously disappeared after it, as it is believed that spirits roam there at night. Yeah, with the way this is described, I don't think I'd ever want to go there during the day. Now we have Heard Island, Australia. One of the most remote territories in the world, Heard Island is considered an Australian territory, even though it's located between Madagascar and Antarctica. It's home to a wide range of animals such as seals, penguins, and marine birds, as well as more than 40 glaciers. At one point it was open for visitors, but they ended up closing it public. There were a couple reasons for this, as in the year 2000, researchers noticed a huge lava flow coming from the island's massive volcano called Mawson. Second, Heard Island is known for its poor weather conditions, and third, it's too remote to be safe. It's located in a minimum 2-week sail to the closest major landmass, so I think it's a good idea that they close this down. Moving on to Poveglia Brana, Czech Republic. Europe's largest natural sandstone arc, Poveglia Brana is one of the most well-known attractions in the Czech Republic. The span of the arc at the bottom is 87 feet and the opening is 52.5 feet high. The width ranges from approximately 23 to 26 feet, and in the narrowest, the arch is about 9.8 feet thick. Its frequent attendance used to cause increased erosion of the upper parts and destruction of the gate. Therefore, access of the public to the gate has been forbidden since 1902. Now, the purpose of the protection is preserving the current state. The more visitors that come to the area, the more likely it is to collapse one day. So, to reduce erosion, tourists can now see it from afar but not climb onto it. Now, unfortunately, the erosion process continues even without the help of visitors, and according to geologists, the arch can still collapse in the future, but at least the ban slows down the process and gives us more time to admire it. Let's discuss the Mausoleum of King Shihong, China. Founder of China's Qin Dynasty, Emperor King Shihong, who reigned between 221 BCE and 210 BCE, was the first emperor of a unified China. He created the Great Wall of China as well as laying down a vast national road system. It was King Shihong who built a huge stone army known as the Terracotta Army, which consists of some 8,000 life-size statues of soldiers as well as numerous horses and chariots. Surrounding this place, the Terracotta Army was likely built in order to protect the emperor in the afterlife. Now, although the tomb of the emperor was discovered upon unearthing the Terracotta Army in 1974, it hasn't been excavated yet. According to the opponents of the excavation of the tomb, modern technologies can't prevent its destruction. For this reason, access to it is still forbidden by the Chinese government. All we know about it now is that it consists of a complex network of caverns underground, filled with objects that, according to those who buried him, the emperor could have needed in the afterlife. Now, I gotta agree with this one, I think we should leave him alone. Now we have Medjugorje, Russia. Being the largest country in the world, Russia is certainly full of surprises. Now, it has a lot of mysterious sites, towns, and other special places, like for example, Medjugorje. It's a closed town hidden somewhere in the southern Ural Mountain. Now, to keep off anyone who wants to enter the town or even come close to it, it's encircled by 2 battalions. Now, what's so important about this area? Well, it's not 100% clear what this area is and why it's surrounded by this receipt. The Russian government has been evasive when asked questions about Medjugorje, and the Russian government claimed Medjugorje was bunker for high-level officials, a food cache, and a mining operation. So, which is it? We don't know, but according to the most believable reports, it's a nuclear missile site that allegedly has automatic missiles that can be controlled remotely. Now, some people think this place is Russia's Area 51, but regardless, it seems like we might never know what's so special about this place.
Next, we move on to the Los Alamos National Laboratory, a scientific powerhouse in the mountains of New Mexico. It was established as Project Y during World War II, as part of the Manhattan Project, is probably most famous for its work in nuclear research. Nuclear. Nobody likes how I pronounce nuclear. I say nuclear, and it's nuclear. Nuclear. And it's probably most famous for its work in nuclear research. It's a sprawling complex full of some of the world's top scientists. The laboratory has been at the forefront of developing groundbreaking technology with a primary focus on nuclear weapons. It's the birthplace of the atomic bomb. Today, Los Alamos dives into everything from national security and defense to cutting-edge scientific exploration, and there's no doubt they're working on some insane top-secret projects in there. Classified technology and experiments that go way beyond what's publicly known. The Dugway Proving Ground. This facility was originally conceived as a testing site for chemical weapons during World War II. Over the years, its mission evolved to encompass a broader range of responsibilities, including the evaluation of defensive measures against biological and chemical threats. The facility became more prominent during the Cold War, when the threat of chemical and biological warfare was a real looming threat. It became a hub for research and testing aimed at developing effective countermeasures and protective gear. Dugway has vast and meticulously controlled testing grounds. The size of the area makes for a variety of simulations and scenarios, helping researchers and military understand the potential impacts of chemical and biological weapons in different conditions. Some speculate, though, that the facility is actually involved in experiments not just having to do with defense. Number 3, Camp Perry. Established during World War II to train Navy Seabees, things became far more covert during the Cold War. As for exactly what goes on there now, there's still a bit of mystery to it. In the early 50s, though, the base underwent a transformation, becoming a key component in the world of intelligence gathering. The most well-known function of Camp Perry is its training facility for the CIA, often referred to as the Farm. This secretive aspect of the base focuses on training CIA officers in the art of espionage, covert operations, and intelligence gathering. The site's remote location is ideal for this, adding an extra layer of security, shielding it from prying eyes. It's also classified as a black site, meaning it's a secret facility involved in covert activity. The base has, of course, been a breeding ground for speculation and conspiracy because of how heavily restricted it is. A significant portion of the activities going on there remain classified. There are theories that the base is involved in extraterrestrial research or that it houses advanced technology hidden from the public eye. The Nevada National Security Site, formerly known as the Nevada Test Site, this expansive area is used for the development and testing of nuclear weapons, located about 65 miles northwest of Las Vegas. The Nevada National Security Site has seen over 1,000 nuclear tests since its establishment in 1951. These tests range from above-ground explosions to underground experiments, and today, the site is no longer used for active nuclear testing, but it's still used for various national security activities. The specifics of these activities are, unsurprisingly, classified. The Nevada National Security Site is managed by the National Nuclear Security Administration, or the NNSA, a branch of the U.S. Department of Energy. Access to the site is restricted, and it operates with a high level of security, which is good when there's nuclear bombs involved. And finally, we have the NRO, or the National Reconnaissance Office. Based in Virginia, the NRO is in the business of keeping an eye on things from way up there in the sky. And by things, I also mean us. They're the folks responsible for designing, building, and operating those hush-hush reconnaissance satellites that orbit the Earth. These satellites are high-tech eyes in the sky, capturing all sorts of intel from keeping tabs on potential threats to monitoring national disasters. Then they analyze the intel and pass the info on to other organizations like the CIA. Now, when it comes to secrecy, the NRO takes it to another level. They are very tight-lipped about the nitty-gritty details of their operations. Information is power, after all. The question on everyone's mind, of course, is what are these satellites really peeking at? The specifics are classified. It's clear, though, that the NRO plays a big role in national security. Access to information about the NRO's day-to-day operations is very limited, and that naturally fuels a lot of speculation. Like, just how much are they really paying attention to up there?
First up, we've got Chuuk Lagoon, located in Micronesia in the western Pacific Ocean and home to the Ghost Fleet of Turk Lagoon, which sits just 50 feet below the surface of the water and is composed of warships, planes, tanks, and railroad cars. The vessels, which once served soldiers on a fortified base during World War II, are now nothing more than a home for underwater plants and animals and a spectacle for daredevil divers. The underwater graveyard, as it has often been referred to, came as a result of an airstrike in 1944, which caused the vehicles and vessels to plummet to the seafloor, taking many soldiers along with them. If you were to check out the creepy abandoned modes of wartime transportation, it's not unlikely that you might find weapons along with gas masks and other paraphernalia and memorabilia. But some people believe there's something a bit more sinister going on beneath the waves, with multiple divers reporting feeling as though they were being watched and that there was someone there with them, other than their diving buddy of course, and other divers going so far as to claim they have actually seen the waterlogged ghosts within the parameters of the haunted graveyard. Next up, we have Reunion Island, a department of France located in the Indian Ocean. The island is home to active volcanoes, rainforests, coral reefs, and beautiful beaches, and has a population of 859,959. The one catch? Despite the beautiful blue shores, swimming along the coast of the island is banned for extreme safety reasons. You see, along with the island being home to some pretty beautiful scenery, it is also home to some of the world's most aggressive tiger and bull sharks, and it's even gained itself the nickname Shark Highway. While sharks generally tend to avoid human contact, leaving shark attacks relatively few and far between, it seems that the sharks living in these waters surrounding the French island miss the memo, as they are the exact opposite of the general rule. In fact, the sharks have actually gone so far as to adapt their behavior to that of the humans in order to increase their proximity. Typically, sharks in the waters of Reunion can be seen spending time trolling along the shallows of the shore in hopes to get even a small taste of human flesh. Not so fun fact, between 2011 and 2016, the small island alone was responsible for over 15% of the world's fatal shark attacks. An underwater brine pool discovered at the bottom of the Red Sea is next up on the list. The strange occurrence was discovered by a team of scientists at a depth of 1,770 meters. The brine pool, which is made up of highly concentrated seawater, roughly 3 to 8 times saltier than the surrounding ocean, is not only super cool to look at, but also super deadly if you were to enter. You see, believe it or not, these brine pools contain a lethal amount of saline, or salt, which replaces the oxygen content in the water. The pools also contain poisonous chemicals, including hydrogen sulfide, and while there are some microbes that survive within the shallows of these strange underwater ponds, it is important to remember that fish, crabs, eels, and definitely humans cannot survive in these conditions, so let's stay above the saltiness, okay? Next up, we have Lake Chagan, located in Kazakhstan, Russia, on a nuclear test site. Well, the lake isn't just located on a nuclear test site, but rather it was one. You see, Lake Chagan, also known as the Atomic Lake, was formed in an effort to demonstrate ways to peacefully detonate nuclear weapons with minimal damage and positive economic impact. In order to create the infamous non-swimming hole, a 584-foot hole was dug at the test site, and then the weapon was lowered down, and boom! The bomb went off and the site of the lake was created, along with a channel to fill it, along with a low-level radioactive plume that reached as far as Japan and sent dust high into the atmosphere. Not only that, but the blast altered a large amount of local geology, as well as a glassy residue of melted quartz and other minerals covered the shores of the lake. The lake, which was formed in 1965, is still radioactive to this day, with a recent study declaring its waters approximately 100 times more radioactive than that of acceptable drinking water, so it's a big no for me. Next we have Bikini Atoll, located in the Marshall Islands, another infamous nuclear test site that is no longer inhabitable due to the long-lasting impact of the nuclear blast and the radioactive contamination that has greatly affected the soil, animals, water, and marine life around the island. While relocating local residents and banning any future persons from residing on the island might seem a bit extreme, it's probably pretty necessary, as during the 1940s and 50s, a total of 23 nuclear bombs were dropped around the parameters of the island, with the second one, dropped in 1946, carving a 30-foot deep and 2,000-foot wide crater on the sea floor, triggering a massive tsunami with waves up to 94 feet, 28.9 meters high. Wildly enough, in recent years, while you still cannot reside on the island, people have been allowed to visit and even take a dive in the residually radioactive waters, but not without receiving special approval and paying for 2 official representatives to accompany them. Once the divers make their descent, they must also be incredibly careful not to touch anything, as grabbing souvenirs from the wreck site might not only cause a person to experience excess exposure to radiation, but it's also strictly forbidden.
Next up around our halfway point is the Dome of the Rock, an architectural marvel and a spiritual mystery that stands majestically in Jerusalem, captivating the imaginations of millions worldwide. Covered in layers of history and reverence, this iconic structure is not only a masterpiece of Islamic architecture, but also a symbol of the complex tapestry of faiths in Jerusalem. For many, it remains an elusive treasure, as access to the interior is extremely limited, especially for non-Muslim visitors, adding to its aura of mystery. Perched atop the ancient and sacred Temple Mount, the site whispers tales of religious significance, rumored to be the place where Abraham prepared to sacrifice Isaac and where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. The shimmering golden dome, visible from various points in the city, serves as a beacon of intrigue, silently guarding centuries-old secrets and religious mysteries. This restriction on entry only amplifies the dome's allure, making it a very tantalizing emblem of the untouchable, covered in myth, history, and spiritual significance.
And that brings us to the Fukushima exclusion zone in none other than Fukushima, Japan. The exclusion zone came to be as a result of a nuclear disaster that occurred in March of 2011. On March 11th, Japan was struck by a massive earthquake, followed quickly by a tsunami in which waves reaching more than 10 meters high engulfed the island. The devastation of the natural disaster caused the reactors of the Daiichi nuclear power plant to overheat, melt, and subsequently leak harsh radioactive materials into the surrounding environment. Not only did this cause the area to become banned to members of the public, it also resulted in some pretty interesting effects on the surrounding areas and wildlife. Mutations were reported to be found in butterflies and on the leaves of many trees surrounding the site of the meltdown. Scientists worried about the lasting effects this might have on the area, but a recent study suggested that there was no significant increase to the mutation rate within the area. While parts of Fukushima have now been reopened for public exploration, the site of and the immediate area surrounding the meltdown are still of restricted access. Despite these restrictions, in 2016, a Malaysian photographer and 2 colleagues managed to sneak their way into the prohibited area, and after emerging back into the better-known world, described it as a ghost town and said being there made them feel as though they were the last people on the planet.
Kicking off the top 3, we have the Dai Hiwa Kinento, or the Great Peace Prayer Tower, which is situated in Osaka, Japan. This place stands as a solemn monument dedicated to the memory of those who lost their lives during World War II. This poignant memorial is a symbol of peace and reflection, embodying the hopes for a world without war. Within its grounds lies an especially poignant section, an underground library. This library is a repository of deeply personal and historic artifacts, a collection of letters written by soldiers during the war. These letters, often the last messages sent to their families and loved ones, offer a window into the human experiences and emotions of wartime. However, access to this underground library is not granted to the public. It remains a restricted area, preserving the privacy and sanctity of these personal and historical documents monuments. This is exactly what sets this place apart from other memorial buildings. It's not just a memorial in the traditional sense, but also a guardian of personal histories and a testament to the individual lives affected by the ravages of war.
And of course we had to include the extremely bizarre yet strangely captivating Morgan Island. With more than 2,000 acres of beautiful land located in South Carolina, the island has often been referred to as Monkey Island, which is quite fitting as the area is home to over 4,000 wild rhesus monkeys. The species, however, is not native to the island, but was rather brought over from Puerto Rico in 6 shipments during 1997 and 3 more in 1980 in an attempt to relocate these silly little creatures. Now, if you're wondering why on earth the lovely people on the beautiful island of Puerto Rico wanted the monkeys gone in the first place, well, that's because they weren't just any regular old rhesus monkeys, but they were rhesus monkeys infected with the herpes B virus, which I will save you the Google search. Yes, humans can 100% contract the virus from coming in contact with the affected monkeys. So it's safe to say that the fact this island has banned public entry, strictly reserving the area for researchers only, is not something any of us are too torn up about. I mean, monkeys are cute and all, but I'm quite happy to count myself out from this particular tropical paradise.
Finally, rounding out our list today, we have Club 33, an exclusive and elusive club nestled in the heart of Disneyland. It is a symbol of luxury and exclusivity in a place otherwise known for its accessibility and universal appeal. This well-kept secret of Disneyland, discreetly located in New Orleans Square, boasts a waiting list that spans years, reflecting its allure and very exclusive nature. Gaining membership to Club 33 is not only a matter of patience, but also of financial might, as it comes with a very steep price tag. Rumored to be in the tens of thousands of dollars for initiation fees, plus annual dues, of course. The club offers its members a unique experience, hopefully, thank God if it costs tens of thousands of dollars, including access to a gourmet restaurant, a lounge, and a range of exclusive events and perks unavailable to regular park visitors. The interiors are lavishly decorated, offering an elegant respite from the bustling energy of Disneyland. With its rich history having been originally designed as a place for Walt Disney to entertain dignitaries and VIPs, Club 33 remains one of the most coveted hidden gems in Disneyland, offering a side of the park that the public never sees and adding an air of mystique to the already magical environment.